In Compost 101, we demonstrate a universal way to restore a vital good habit in our agricultural activities. Shall we call it Compost for Dummies? This activity can be carried out in any geographic location anywhere in the world, for the basic ingredients are readily available wherever there is soil, warmth and light. These will provide the essential ingredient, or biomass, in the form of carbonaceous and proteinaceous vegetable matter. Your compost heap will be a construction of layers of different waste materials. The first layer is made up of carbon-rich materials. On top of that is a layer of additives, which provide additional nutrients to the compost. A third layer is an enhancer layer which helps speed up the breakdown process. The fourth layer is a layer of nitrogen-rich materials. These 4 layers form a stack which is repeated until the compost heap reaches an optimal height. Let's review the material that we'll be using in our compost heap. This will also give you an idea of how much of each material you will need for one compost heap. We've got a stack of thick twigs that we'll be using to create the base of the compost heap. And for our carbon materials, we have dry leaves. Our nitrogen material is green leaves and weeds that grow wild on the farm. Our enhancer is going to be cow dung, which will be mixed with water to form a thick slurry. And additives we have access to are stone powder, borewell powder and eggshell powder. It's also a good idea to keep the leaves a little moist until you start building the compost heap. Now let's get down to building the compost heap. For your compost heap, you will ideally want an area that is spacious enough to accommodate a few heaps composting at various stages. And if possible, it should be well shaded so the sun doesn't dry out the heap too early. Roughly mark out the borders of the heap. This will help you keep the heap neat and make the process faster and efficient. Remember, your heap is built up of stacks of layers alternating between carbon, nitrogen and enhancers. At the bottom, we will need to make an air layer. This air layer is only at the bottom of the heap and not repeated with each stack. An easy way to create an air layer is with dry twigs and sticks. You will pile these up to create a layer roughly 6 inches high. This leaves enough space for air to get in to help the breakdown process. Your first layer is a carbon layer. This could be dry leaves or straw. Pile the material up to roughly 4 to 10 inches high. Layer 2 is an additive which provides nutrition to the final compost. This could be rock dust, wood ash, eggshell powder or bone powder. Spread the powder evenly at the top of the dry leaves carbon layer. Layer 3 is your enhancer layer. Dung slurry provides beneficial organisms to help speed up the breakdown process. Ideally, use animal dung from a herbaceous animal like cow, goat, sheep or even chicken. Mix the dung with water to form thick slurry and spread this liberally over the heap to form a thick layer. Layer 4 is your nitrogen layer. This is your green layer. Use materials such as green leaves, clover or vegetable scraps. Build this layer up to about 6 to 10 inches high. Layer 5 is an optional enhancer to help speed up the breakdown process. We used lime powder for our compost heap. 3 full handfuls should do. Spread it evenly over your green leaves nitrogen layer. Layers 1 to 5 make up one stack. The rest of your compost heap is basically repeating this stack of layers over and over until the heap reaches 5 feet high. After your stack reaches about 5 feet, you will have a final layer of dry leaves on top. And you will want a heavy layer of dung slurry to coat and insulate your compost heap. This helps seal in the bacteria and makes sure the breakdown process is contained and efficient. After 6 weeks, it's time to turn your compost heap. This is a simple process of taking your 2 compost heaps and layering it into a new heap. If you only have one compost heap, simply move the compost heap from one spot to another, so all the layers are mixed again. It's important to make sure the heap is moist when turning. Pour water over the layers as you turn the heap. The more frequently you turn your heap, the quicker the breakdown process. If possible, turn the compost heap every 20 days. And typically in a warm tropical climate, your compost heap will be ready to use in 60 to 70 days. Your finished compost should be dry and powdery. If it's still moist and soft, then the breakdown process hasn't completed yet. Applying the compost to your fields is easy. A simple layer of compost on your soil is all you need. The amount of compost you need for your fields depends on the type of crop you are growing. To give you a rough idea, you will apply 3 tons of compost for an acre of low feeder crop such as tea or coffee. You'll get 3 tons of compost from 1 compost heap. 5 tons for an acre of medium feeder crop such as paddy. 1 or 2 compost heaps will provide you with what you need. And about 10 tons of compost for an acre of high feeder crop like vegetables. You'll need at least 3 compost heaps for 10 tons of compost. And what are the advantages to feeding your soil with compost? Soil water retention increases. This means you need to irrigate less frequently, conserving water and saving on your costs of drilling wells and pumping water. Soil nutrition. The compost provides nutrition to the soil and to the crops. Your crops will be healthier, pest and disease free, which means less pesticides and chemicals for higher and faster crop maturity. Softer soil. Soil free of chemicals and pesticide is softer, making it easier and quicker to cultivate, saving you time planting new crops and getting your crops to market. Healthier crops. The vegetables grown on compost-rich farms are healthier, tastier, and have a longer shelf life. Healthier animals. The cows that eat fodder grown on compost-enriched soil are healthier, so the milk from these cows is healthier and tastier. Your cost to farm reduced substantially, saving on pesticide, chemicals, water, and cultivation time. Healthier soil leads to an overall healthy farm and environment. Vegetables and crops are healthier, the soil is active and rich, retaining nutrition and water. The farm is more self-reliant and less dependent on external materials. This means costs are decreasing while yields and profits are constantly increasing. A chemical farm feeds only the plants that grow on it. Organic farming feeds the soil, which feeds the entire environment and ecosystem around it.